this is the future. Everybody is thinking PR.
I think culture is going to be very important for younger people starting out today.
The PR budgets need to go up.
I don't think there'll be more than 10% business will be global, the rest will be local.
I think people, planet and purpose will certainly be able to galvanize our work.
A rapid fire where I ask you a few things and we have some quick.
Where's the hamper?
Hello everybody. Today our discussion is tailored for PR professionals who may be considering their next career move. So when exploring avenues for professional growth, the choice between joining an independent Indian agency or an agency affiliated with a global network could be one consideration. What should you all look at and what opportunities could you look forward to? Let us explore the advantages of both with two industry stalwarts who have distinctive experience in PR. My first guest here with me is Nitin Mantri. He founded Avian in 2004 and subsequently integrated it into the global network of V Communications, assuming the role of Group CEO Avian V. He serves as the Regional Executive MD for V in Asia Pacific. Nitin's influence extends beyond his executive role. He holds esteemed positions, one of them being as a member of the Global Advisory Board of the PR and Comms Association, the PRCAI. Thanks, Nitin, for joining me today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me to Comms and Conversations.
And my second guest is Archana Jain, who is the founder and MD of PR Pandit, an agency she set up in 1998. Over its 25-year tenure, PR Pandit carved a niche in lifestyle and luxury PR. It was acknowledged as the Agency of the Year in the large category by ET Brand Equity, and in September 2023, it was adjudged the Consumer Consultancy of the Year in the APAC region by Provoke Media during the Sabre Awards Asia Pacific 2023. And just recently, in early November, it too became part of a global network, Havas, and Archana continues to lead PR Pandit Havas Red. Congratulations on this once again.
Thank you, Nandini. It's a pleasure to be here and especially with Nitin.
In case you are enjoying hearing my podcast, Comms and Conversations, do subscribe to the YouTube channel, the link for which is in the description. With that, let's start. So, Nitin, you remained an independent agency for what, like 2 decades or so? Before you moved on
15 odd years, yes.
To the V Network.
Yes.
What motivated you to make this move?
I think a couple of things. I think the first thing was that, as we were growing, we also wanted to learn from what's happening globally. And what kind of new tools or new ways of working are there, and that was an opportunity to see how we can learn from other agencies, global agencies. 1, 2, also it was for people to learn more, right? So what do we do for people? What next for them? And I think being part of a global network opens up many more opportunities for people to actually explore more of their capabilities across the world.
And you bit it also now.
Yes, after 25 years for me. So I think, we built PR Pandit in a sort of a niche domain. We put structure and scale to something that was largely unattractive to a lot of people, right? Nobody thought consumer lifestyle domains like beauty and luxury can yield returns. We spotted that opportunity earlier on, and grew that, built scale around it. And so to build an independent organization, very proud, and something that you said in your introduction, the Consumer Consultancy of the Year at the APAC level was a great recognition for us to mark. But there again, what Nitin said, what next? For our people, we needed to do something which gave them maybe an opportunity to work on cross-border transactions, maybe to learn best practices from, global counterparts in the other market. And I think that's what's kind of motivated us to say, let's open up more opportunities for our teams.
But would you then say that if they're working for an independent agency, these opportunities are not there?
It's not that business doesn't come your way, but I think learnings do come from looking at what's happening in the other marketplace. We would learn via case studies, we don't have access to what is called maybe a global research, right? Which today, by being part of a network, we will have ready access to that. We are independently will be only able to do a research of a certain scale, while being part of a larger organization is, it's a larger opportunity. That is what you do, and learning never stops. If I can be a fly on the wall in your organization, I will learn. Yeah. And that's what it enables, right? We only know, as an independent, you only know as much as you know, right? We always keep bringing in talent from another organization. Why? To sort of saying, okay, what are the best practices that we can inculcate into our day-to-day operations?
I think you have, like Archana said, pros and cons are there. And I think, for an independent firm to scale globally out of India, possible, absolutely. But it's then becomes very difficult if you look at other aspects like cost of capital, like, going to much more mature markets, right? Like in some of the Western markets to grow, to build a brand. And therefore, if you are part of a larger global network, then those advantages come on their own. So I think there are pros and cons on both of staying. And I think one of the things that we did see when we were exiting the business, it was that should we be part of a larger holding group, or should we remain part of a larger independent company? And that we chose to be independent. So if somebody asks me, are you independent? So we are still independent, right? We're just globally an independent firm now. That's the only difference.
Yeah, it's important for us to also preserve our culture. Yeah. That culture has given us growth, right?
And you understand the market best.
Exactly. The innovative culture, the agility, the nimbleness with which we function, we cannot compromise that, because I think that itself will be contrarian to what has lent us growth and scale so far.
Yeah. But tell me, for a new entrant into the world of communications, what should be the choices that one should be considering or looking at where they want to join?
Young people know their minds today, right? They know what they want to do, and possibly more about what they do not want to do. Okay. I think that's a good starting point. But the point that they need to evaluate is, okay, do you want to be part of a young startup, or you want to be part of a very, very mature organization? Now, there as a young startup, you get to do a lot more, right? Because you pretty much have to be
hands-on on everything.
Hands-on on every function. Yeah. In a larger organization, you get access to maybe a larger client portfolio, but you have a very siloed sort of function. The other question they need to evaluate is, do we want to be part of a company, or we want to be part of a consultancy? There, I think, again, we'll be biased. As a consultancy, we're just going to offer incredible growth opportunities.
Yeah, I think you're right. I always encourage people coming out of, whatever, MBAs or graduates or whatever, to join consultancies, purely because you just learn so much more. And
width of learning.
Yeah. And then you can also decide, do you want to be in tech? Do you want to be in consumer? Do you want to be in, lifestyle? Or whatever you want to do, right? Yeah. You can explore each and every aspect, right? And to Archana's point, I think as a person starting out, I would, they have to choose whether they want to go to a smaller firm or larger firm. If it's independent or non-independent, doesn't matter. Eventually, it's about the work you're going to end up doing and who you're going to work with. I think culture is going to be very important for younger people starting out today.
Yeah. But other than culture, which is there, what kind of opportunities should they be looking at when they're considering various PR agencies?
To me, honestly, the younger people, they would like to see culture. They do their own homework a lot. Okay. You'll be surprised. They'll go and talk to various people. I know that I teach at Xavier's, for example, and they would have spoken to all their seniors. They would have checked out the agency. They would have spoken to, alumni, ex-alumni, etc., etc. But I think in general they have to see one, the kind of work they're going to end up doing, what kind of clients they're going to be, which city do they want to be. Right. That also determines, because some people are quite agnostic to which city they want to go in. And I think, personally, I think they should be, because they want to be in Bombay, it'll be very, very different from Bangalore or Delhi, right? That's one. Two, if they already have a choice of interest, right, like lifestyle or consumer, for example, then that also starts determining where they want to go, right? But if they are very strong in tech, that determines where they want to go. So I think those are some of the factors that they need to consider when choosing an agency.
But let me step back on the culture bit, which I thought was very interesting. Elaborate on that. What is the culture that varies from agency to agency?
Listen, it's different, right? Some agencies could be very process driven, for example, right? Some agencies could be play hard and work hard culture, culture. Some of them could just have a very kind of startup culture, right, where everybody's doing anything. It's a smaller agency, so it'll vary from agency to agency, and it really depends on where you fit and what you want to do.
So you need to know somebody in the agency who would.
Yes, I mean you need to, and I can tell you they talk a lot to people. Yeah,
they talk to people who've been in the particular organization, or general internships. That's another opportunity.
That's true. Internships.
They come in, they sort of learn the craft a little bit, but also understand whether this organization works for them, this particular specialization works for them.
Get a feel of the organization properly, hands-on. Yeah. But tell me about retaining people. Is it a concern that you guys are also facing in the PR agency? Is the movement very fast?
Absolutely. I think our biggest challenge today is retention of talented people. That's a function of, India is a land of unicorns, right? So entrepreneurship takes them away. We are a very, very fertile ground for trained personnel to work in your roles in the companies. So they take them away.
I do hire.
Exactly. So, well-trained or people, we're losing them really to companies and to becoming entrepreneurs. Yeah. Yes, sometimes, they've done a certain time with you at an organization and say, listen, let's say, currently, there's a lovely lady who's working with us for the last 7 years. This was her first job with us. She's good. But she says, can I just go out and, see what is beyond PR Pandit? Yeah. And I think that's a fair point, you know. Yeah. But what we worry about is when people leave in less than that sort of timeline. Okay. When they leave in 1 or 2 years, and there is a lot of that happening.
I think, the three pieces where I see people leave, right? They leave either in the first 1 or 2 years. And unfortunately, some of them leave to go for money, which is not the best thing, or the other piece is that they go because they don't like the industry, right? And I've seen that a lot as well, right? The second piece is the middle management, right? That's when they jump to a Copcom job, or they go to another agency to explore, like you're saying, right? And while they go to a Copcom job, no problem, my worry happens is when they start running Copcom roles, being, at a not so experienced level at some stage. That's, and sometimes that's not great for the overall industry, I feel, right? And then you have people who are very senior who leave to go to Copcom. That's fair enough, you move on, you think at this point in life I need to kind of do something else. So those are the things. But the way to, is retention a problem? A big problem, but probably you can't do much about it. Beyond a point.
We are all going.
I think we're all solving for that by looking at people, getting in people from allied industries. We could hire from research, we could hire from advertising. There are alternatives we are exploring. But yes, there is a need for definitely the industry coming together to build a certain amount of aura about the PR industry, that this is an industry which is a sunrise industry.
Absolutely.
We are growing faster
Absolutely.
than globally the PR industry. Like 13% was it last year, Nitin? We've grown versus a global at 9%.
And the need for this
The
is
need
just
for
increasing.
PR. And so if it's a promising future, as a promising career options, why aren't we looking at it?
One of the big challenges I've noticed, and I'm also looking at this next gen board globally for eco, but is this whole work-life balance. And I keep telling people that we are a stressful industry. Work-life balance will always be a problem. So I've stopped promising people that there's no stress, there'll be work-life balance. Not possible.
I call it the work-life harmony.
There you go. Great.
Good one.
I like that.
Good one.
Because I said,
Nice.
we have a life because of the work that we do.
Yeah.
If we are passionate about the work, I mean, the life, you find a spot for it.
Yeah.
And tell me you're in the consulting business. Your consultants, I have found them working twice as hard as well. So any career requires you to be passionately involved.
I have always felt the person who work just keeps coming onto their table.
Yes.
I mean, if you're passionate about
Yeah.
it. But tell me, coming to clients and when they're looking at PR agencies, how important is it for them, or do they give weightage to the fact that now you in some way part of a global network?
Well, yes and no, depends on clients. So there are some clients who have global agencies, and I think they would encourage their local agencies to work with them at times. But what I'm noticing more and more is that clients each market is choosing their own agency per se, right? Because of, for various reasons, right? Because they think that local agency can give me better expertise, or the global arm of the global agency may not be as equipped to handle my business as somebody else in that market. And that may not be an independent agency, it could be a global agency or some other brand, you know what I mean? So I think that is definitely happening, one. Two, where it happens, where more of that happens, where global agencies, where clients work with global arms, is when you don't have clients in market.
Okay.
Right? So, for example, there may be a Copcom head based out of Singapore and doesn't have anybody in India, and they'll tell their global agency, say, can you also work for me in India? Right? That happens. In that case, it happens more, but not in the other case. That's what I've noticed.
You don't think also that this could be a mood factor?
25
Yeah.
years
Yeah,
we've managed
exactly,
without
exactly,
that, right?
Exactly.
And we've competed against
Yeah.
really all the various global
Yeah.
consulting firms that
Yeah.
have come in this sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've managed, because ultimately they're looking at local capabilities.
Yeah.
They're looking at your local stakeholder knowledge,
Yeah.
understanding of the ecosystem
Yeah.
around which the program needs to be built.
Absolutely.
That, unless you have a strong local team as part of also a network firm, it's not going to work. And the other thing that Nitin spoke about is if there is a mature in corporate person that is leading the function,
Yeah.
then they already have the intelligence on who's good, who's not good.
And for what area?
Right.
Yeah.
And so then they invite, let's say, an RFP, then they shortlist the 2 or 3 good
Yeah.
firms and saying, okay, come in and pitch for my business.
Yeah.
So, and then, frankly, sometimes independents are equally invited, just as much as a network. I think sometimes where you're not willing to take the risk, you can fall back on the safe option to say, okay, there's a global network, nobody's going to question me, right?
Easy way out.
Exactly. Someone has my back.
So that's something for the comms professionals to hear from you.
If you talk to any global agency in market, I don't think there'll be more than 10% business will be global. The rest will be local, or as in pitched on their own. Because even if you're a global network, what it gets you is access in the room, as in you'll get the RFP. After that, you're on your own. Yeah.
Further on that. But do budgets play any role, or what kind of a role do they play when it comes to selecting or hiring PR agencies?
Well, yeah. I mean, at some point of time, procurement comes into play. So they do kind of, evaluate offers on the basis of certain budgets, and then they negotiate, right, very hard without understanding our profession. I think that's the most frustrating exercise that I
Apples
go
and oranges
through.
in PR agencies.
To talk to procurement, and you say,
Terrible.
like, you don't understand what we do. Why are you? But the PR function cannot talk because they have to have to sort of create that distinction.
Yeah, absolutely.
But really, on that note, I think, speak on behalf of the entire industry is the PR budgets need to go up.
Okay.
Honestly, because I feel there's not enough. The expectations from what public relations can deliver has increased, right? We've become more integrated. Now, if you've got to do a full role like that, then you need to have a portion, a substantial amount of funds towards it, and that's not real. That's not really sufficient. What is currently being put out. For example, let's look at measurement. We get questioned all the time. Okay, can you give us alternate measurement? This ad values, etc., don't work. Share of voice is not adequate enough. So we said, yeah, there is. Do a study. Do one before and
Do a
after
dipstick
a
before
campaign.
and then do one.
Before, yeah.
Exactly.
Not a dipstick.
exactly.
It has to be
A
more
proper
meaningful.
research, yeah.
Now, where are the budgets for this?
Yeah.
So to look for solutions from us without a commensurate increase in budgets doesn't really then work.
Yeah.
We will all give you the same dashboard.
Yeah.
Key title analysis, share of voice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what budgets permit. We're not going to be able to do more of that.
I guess we are on a journey, but I'm sure you're seeing things improving.
They're better, but I think we can't complain about quality of talent. At the same time, don't have more budgets to get better talent. Plus, give me more with the
At
same
less.
budget at the less, more or the same
More
or
or the
less.
same or-
Yeah. Oh, you have a digital arm as well, so वो भी कर दो. Can you do these content तो same है वो भी कर दो. I've heard that a lot, right?
No, I'm sure we
It
can
do-
be guilty on that.
Yeah, it eventually doesn't work, and I think comms professionals also need to educate their stakeholders internally to park more budgets through, whether it's the marketing route or direct or whatever.
Honestly, how would state the budget up front? This is what we have. What would you deliver for it? That is a good question and a mature question to ask today. And globally we do get that. Right? Globally, a company that writes into us saying, this is our budget. What can you do? And then when you respond back with how you would ideate on that, how would you develop that concept, it's fine.
Couldn't agree more with you. Let me move on to a rapid fire where I ask you a few things and we have some quick.
Where's the hamper?
So-
Kejo style, we need that.
So the first one, and let's take from what you just said, your advice to comms professionals so that we can really work well together.
Maturity. Stand up for who they hire. And certainly look at it as a very, very productive and constructive partnership.
Partnership, exactly. I couldn't agree more with you on that. You're all working towards a common objective.
I'll just add one more to all that. Be risk-taking. Come work as a partner with your consultancy and take a risk and do some really great campaigns.
Bold campaign.
Bold campaigns, yes, and of course, pay us more.
Okay. What 2-3 skills you give a lot of weightage to when you are hiring talent?
For me, it is, yes, a little bit of education. I do look at that. As an organization also, I think we would say that we look at that. If they're able to demonstrate a certain passion and articulation, right?
Articulation.
Because
in this
we
is
need that in our profession.
Yeah.
How do they demonstrate passion?
In the conversations,
Okay.
in their knowledge, in their
In the
understanding.
knowledge,
Because believe me, you do find people who come in and don't know even
A
what they
thing.
read.
Yeah.
They're not able to say that they've read this particular daily
Right.
or a magazine,
Right.
depending on the role that we are evaluating on. Not able to explain that what is it that we do in our day-to-day life. Now that becomes a bit, then you're not really,
Yeah.
you do not understand what you're interviewing for.
Yeah.
Then why?
Yeah, I think Archana summed it up, but I would add, knowledge. And I think I do like to have conversations to understand how and what people read, and do they have some knowledge or depth knowledge on this, or they just read the headlines. You can get to know that very easily. Even when I teach, my first question is, have you read today's newspaper?
Yes.
Two, I think at different levels, we would look at writing a lot, right?
I actually make people go through a written test.
Yeah, so
It's-
we do that as well, because I think we're finding more and more that is becoming a big challenge. It's coming in the way. Yeah, so that I would add that to that list.
And I normally say two things: aptitude and attitude. For me, attitude is
Absolutely.
very
Attitude is
important.
skill.
I can
Yeah.
teach,
Is
but
key.
you need to have the right attitude.
Oh yeah.
Because I've always believed that, anybody can learn this craft, but provided they want to. So attitude becomes very, very important.
Why do we see more women in our industry? And would I be right to say
Let's
that?
ask him.
Okay, so I think that trend is changing.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't know, to be honest, the answer to that question. I think firstly that trend is changing, because I think if I look at my organization, we are probably 60-40 now.
Okay.
60 men?
Yeah, no.
Women still.
It's over, but listen, we were 80-20 at one
We're
point.
still dominating.
Probably, or maybe 65-35, but it's in that range now, right? It's changed or it's improved over the years, not consciously, but we do see more men coming into the profession. Why is more women dominated? I know maybe it was women are just better at doing multiple things. It's
say
in an
some nice
agency.
things. Say some more nice things.
Yeah, time management, multitasking, that's what we do a lot of, so
They're more perceptible.
More-
I
100%.
feel they listen.
They
They listen,
listen.
probably.
So in any consulting profession, we need to listen.
Yeah.
And the answers are all there
Yeah.
in the conversations that you have.
Yeah.
So that's particularly an ability that the women table, and that's really good for our. And I think somewhere along the line also we present a point of view which represents 50% of the world's opinion, right? So which is not usually tabled. And that helps harness some really great ideas and innovations. You're talking to companies where the bulk of the top team may be men.
Yeah.
And so when they listen to us, we bring a point of view which
Yeah.
may be something that may have glossed over.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Think of that.
Actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. How can PR professionals stay updated about the latest trends? Your advice.
Read.
Okay. Anything in particular?
I think a great starting point is media. Reading a lot more about the sectors in which they work on. Yes, global case examples. I mean, whether it's signing up for the Cannes Lion sort of website, Spike's website, or just our newsletters or trade journals, it equips you with certain best practices and knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Read. That's it. And read global stuff, not only India stuff. So from Cannes to Provoke to whatever, just read as much as. And I'll be honest, not just about the industry, read more global happenings on what's going on around the world. I mean, I encourage people to read New York Times or the New Yorker, right? Or stuff
Absolutely.
like that. There's such rich content across the world. It's amazing.
In fact, I had one of the guests saying that not just our fraternity and industry content.
Yeah,
Try
that's
and
what I'm saying.
attend events which are other than this,
absolutely.
where you will pick up stuff where you can help join the dots.
Yeah.
Thank you. And unless you know what's happening globally
Yeah.
in the geopolitical world or in different industries, you will never be able to join the talks
Exactly.
globally.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, people just read about what's happening in AI in India. They'll never be able to
Exactly.
figure out what's happening globally.
Exactly. Gen AI. Tell me your comments on that.
Well, you know, I think we have to use AI for bettering our productivity.
Yeah.
I think it's not going to take away any jobs. It's just, we just have to use the tools better on how we can work better.
Yeah.
Work smarter, basically. And I think that's going to help us, but we have to be ethical and transparent about using those tools. So, for example, you know, we have some products which our Singapore office uses. For example, they do, but they're extremely they actually tell clients we're going to use these tools this AI tools to generate these designs of videos, and that's it. And then on top of that, we'll work about, there'll be a human element to it, which will then give you the end product. But we are transparent about it, and that's what we have to do.
Makes sense. I mean, use it as a tool
Absolutely.
which you can
Absolutely.
improve what you're doing.
We're using AI to the best of our ability, you know, just to enhance our work.
Correct.
And I think it's going to take away, you know, we said, okay, people don't write very well, right? Let's use it to improve their writing skills.
Yeah.
So training on AI is happening parallelly within our organization. We're doing it for design, we're doing it for bettering just content,
Correct.
all of those. So I think it's an enabler. It'll help us fulfill a particular gap that we have in acquisition of new talent. So we said, okay, the same person may be able to do a lot more given that they have technology that helps them with the work.
Tell me about future of PR. I mean, we discuss is very important today, it's just increasing, but where do you see this going tomorrow?
This is the future. Everybody is thinking PR. People understand what public relations today is. Maybe not the way we do, but nevertheless, they understand it far more than they did when we started our careers.
No,
Then
100%.
it was constantly confused for advertising, right? Not anymore. There is a demand for it. We are, like we said, we are growing faster than the global industry in India. The last report that I read was 9%, I think, global, and we are at 13%. It's on it upwards and onwards for our industry.
Do you
honestly.
see anything else getting added on to this, like public policy and all is something that
Oh,
you would
100%.
handle? Yeah.
So I can tell you that we're going to be more integrated
Yeah.
with policy, with sustainability, with ESG and social, digital, etc. We're going
Right.
to get more creative.
Right.
One of the things that people used to talk about industries, advertising is more creative than you, but I think we're
Yeah.
going to get more and more creative now as an industry. We're going to get more data driven.
Right.
So it's going to be more and more insights analytics because all our campaign will be driven by data
Right.
at the back end. And finally, we're going to have more purpose driven work, which
Right.
is already happening,
Right.
but it's going to increase many-fold now with so many companies, you know, talking about their carbon, efficient goals, etc., etc.
Right.
All that is going to come into play, and everybody's going back to how do we talk about it
Yeah.
through PR.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think people, planet, and purpose
Yeah.
will certainly be able to galvanize
Yeah.
our work.
Yeah.
And we see it across, like in the integrated function, not just press communications, but it is about KOL and influencers.
Yeah.
It's about social media management.
Yeah.
All of that has become now, we are on the same table
Yeah.
as possibly an advertising or a media agency, but
Yeah.
without the
Actually, a very important
ability
table.
to
The
buy.
Yeah, yeah.
entire reputation management.
So corporate reputation is the single most
Yeah.
important thing that's coming out in the last 2
Yeah.
or 3 surveys now, which Provoke and Eco do. Corporate reputation is the number one issue that's coming up, and people keep saying, hey, the PR industry is, the media is dying. What are you going to do? Actually, as an industry, we become more complex, and corporate reputation has become more complex. So therefore, to manage that, people do need more and more specialism,
Yeah.
right? So therefore, instead of going down, the industry is therefore booming. Like Archana said, we are
I
booming
agree.
based on that.
Influencer marketing.
Yeah.
How do you see this going?
Oh, it's going to
Boom.
Yeah, it's going to increase. We'll have guidelines around it, like ASCII has done guidelines recently,
Yeah.
but it's going to increase because more and more people are going to use content on social or digital, and we're going to use more and more KOLs and influencers. You know, absolutely.
Very, very important broadcast, let's say, tactic or tool that is today required. Authenticity is going to be critical in the future for influencer marketing. So it's not about using just people with the ability to reach 1 million and 1 billion people, but how authentic is their content with respect to the conversation that we want them to have. So anybody who's talking about automobiles as part of their entire feed becomes the most relevant, even if they may not have the 1 million kind of following. While 1 million is required for, you know, let's say, okay, if I'm a woman and I have 1 million and I wear my makeup well, of course it's most relevant for a lipstick of a mass, not in the luxury, but maybe in the sort of more premium kind of category. But otherwise, yes, we have to be discerning even there. So influencer marketing is complex too.
It is.
And you know, whether it's tech or whether it's travel, it's pretty much pervading all domains today.
Tell me your 2 best or 2 favorite holiday destinations, and we close with that.
I think for me it's going to be Italy. Italy is something that I just love it because love the weather, love the food. Yeah, and you know, culturally they're so similar to what we are. Like we tend to be sometimes loud, you know, not inhibited there. They're equally. That would be something. And then I guess the second, I have to choose something in India.
I was about to say, tell me one in India.
And it'll have to be a game park for me. It'll have to be Ranthambore or a Kanha.
Highly accessible now, easily accessible.
Yeah, Kanha, something like that. That's absolutely,
What about you, Nitin?
You know, I have to go with Italy because I was in Florence last month. So I just fallen in love with Italy. I totally agree. The food, the culture, it's so similar. It's just absolutely lovely. The second place, I have to say, we've been going a lot to Kashmir, and that, you know, last 2 years, I think 3 or 4 times we've been, and I just love that place now. Absolutely.
Jannat hai.
Jannat hai, totally, you know.
Away from the Delhi's pollution.
Yeah, just, you know, you don't get such a big valley anywhere in the world. I've not seen that. It's just amazing, stunning.
Thank you so much,
you.
Archana, Nitin, for joining today. Lovely discussion, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
I hope this discussion with Nitin and Archana would have given some food for thought on what to look forward to when joining an independent agency or one which is part of a global network. However, at the end of the day, guess it is our own passion and drive that becomes the catalyst for career magic. Do consider sharing your perspective on an independent agency and an agency with a global network in the comments. And a word for communication professionals. The agencies we choose are not merely service providers, they are our partners in success. Whether one opts for an independent agency or a global network, understanding how to get the best from the partnership, how to have a great working relationship is probably key to ensuring mutual success. Thank you.